story arc. We're going to pick up right at the beginning of Chapter 3, where our adventurers have come from the Mandalavian Adventure Guild and request to Leosin's call for aid to try to help with the cult. The Adventure Guild answered that call and sent a party of a few adventurers to assist in any way that they could. As a part of that, we have made our introductions last week. So this week we're going to have a new adventurer joining with that party just as they arrive at the city of Greenest, and that's where we'll be taking it off.
Microphone activated. Sound resumed.
Alright, so we had made our introductions for the most part as we were approaching the city of Greenest on our 2-week journey from the Adventurers Guild. Today we'll be arriving at the actual town of Greenest, and just before doing so, Morn, our monk, I guess a little bit nervous about such a prominent monk figure being in the town that you're going to meet. He is definitely part of the contract, but he's going to take it upon himself to spend time scouting and gathering information about from the area, rather than have the encounter with the esteemed monk. And so he is going to part ways just before getting to the city, and he will meet up with you on your trek somewhere throughout your adventure after he's got a good lay of the land. So as we enter the city of Greenest, the party has kind of accompanied by a small caravan, as typical, especially traveling this far south. That usually, if there is anyone traveling, and as people are moving that way, those that have to make shipments and that kind of thing tend to just kind of group up together with anyone that's heading that direction, especially given the renown of those that are currently traveling in the party. As a part of that, a new person from the Adventurers Guild managed to ride hard to make headway to actually reach you just by the time you reach the Greenest City. And with that, I'll leave Laurel. Is that how you're actually pronouncing it? Laurel? Laurel?
Laurel, yeah.
Laurel. I'll let him make his introduction.
So just a quick kind of overview of what you're looking at as he walks up to you. He's got some worn but very taken care of armor. It's worn with age and use. He's carrying a shield that has a kind of an enamel on the front of it. It's got a white background. It has what looks to be a red mist or flowing upwards, or maybe a red river flowing downwards with 7 stars in a circle around it. He's looks to be in his mid-30s. And he carries a longsword on his side.
At this juncture, so you've kind of reined in. Does anyone know you? Has anyone interacted with you before, or are you just a surprise, so to speak, to those that are here?
Oh, total surprise. In what fashion were they all traveling together? Did they all each have their own mounts, or were they on a wagon of some sort?
There was plenty of mounts about, although it'd be up to them if they wanted to be, you know, uh, riding along the wagons. There's surely plenty of those as well.
I would be on a wagon. My little legs can't reach the stirrups of most mounts.
I would take a horse, but it probably wouldn't have a lot of the usual gear, I guess. It wouldn't have a bit in its mouth or anything like that.
Assuming you weren't actually a horse yourself, mounting
Yeah,
foot.
well, I thought about that, but I can only be an animal for a certain amount of time, so considering we've been traveling for weeks.
That's true. That's very true.
Okay, I kind of want to do a little bit of acrobatics and jump on to Laurel's horse.
The one that
For a
he's
very
no longer
upfront
on.
greeting. Oh, yeah, actually, that'd be very useful.
Okay.
Be like, hi!
Go ahead and roll. Okay, so you're off the side of the wagon. You'll be jumping onto the horse. Go ahead and
Yeah.
roll an acrobatics check. Ah, with deft ease and a bit of a flourish, in fact.
Alright, I'm going to extend a hand for a handshake.
Now that you can actually reach.
Yep.
The horse, due to your ability of landing, didn't also likely due to some training, didn't didn't even flinch or move when you landed on it. As you can hear in the background, you're here just on the edge of the city. You can kind of see out before you, as you guys are beginning your conversations, and as you're just kind of coming over the rise in onto the city itself. You can see construction crews hard at work repairing, looks to be tearing down and rebuilding burnt buildings. You also see glints of sunlight reflecting off of armor, as you can see small pockets of people roaming around the outside. That appear to be none of it seems to be matched or even fine armor that you can see. Mostly whatever little bits that could be found or scraped together out of cellars or relics that were passed down that are seldom seen used. Most are in a state of disrepair, but nonetheless being currently adorned and keeping not so much the inside. It's not looks like they're guarding the people that are doing work or anything like that, but they are definitely looking outward as though they are trying to make sure that nothing coming in is of danger. So as the conversation continues, the caravan kind of just continues moving very slowly as it reaches the edge of the city. As it does, a horn sounds from the keep. Not one of warning, one trumpeting perhaps the arrival of guests.
While that goes off, are we traveling slow enough that I can be on foot and maybe see if there's anything in Laurel's saddlebags, so we know who he is?
Yeah, it's definitely by the time you enter the city, there's enough hustle and bustle of the streets that it's nothing but it's walking speed. Even the mounts are at walking speed, traversing the city.
So can I check his saddlebags without him noticing?
We can make two checks for that. First, let's go ahead and on your skills tab, go ahead and roll a stealth skill to about your positioning.
Uh-oh.
And so you're walking next to the horse. Your presence is well known and noted. So maybe because of just the casualness and that you haven't really said anything, that you just kind of look away, and then kind of as you walk around over and then kind of slink up next to TX on the horse, everyone is well aware of your position, and you notice that. You know that you're not actually being particularly stealthy. The second thing, if you want to kind of do the sleight of hand, would be the next roll to see. Due to proximity, let's go ahead and have TX and Laurel roll perception checks.
Derp.
That might be that might have been your passive perception. Yeah, that was. Yeah, So from the perspective, you just kind of, raise the saddle bag, take a peek in, maybe move your hand around a little bit, hopefully trying to hide behind the horse a little bit on doing so, since you're on the other side from him of the horse. The horse doesn't pay any mind at all. And in this, Laurel does not see what you're doing, but TX does. Although, I don't really know what is in your saddlebags. Anything of note? Are you carrying most of your stuff on your backpack, or is this the contents of your backpack what's currently would be considered in the saddlebags?
Yeah, it's a basic explorer's pack.
But no information about who you are or where you came from.
Not in what would be in the contents of his saddlebags.
Okay.
You don't find any like directives or sheets of paper with, or, scrolls or parchment, anything that would have any written indication. No banners or sigils inside the bags themselves. Only what's visible on his shield. Although you can also, one other interaction you can do is roll, because you've heard him talk and you say why he's here. You can ask to see, you can roll something called insight as another one of those skills to see, is this, how truthful is he being? Does it sound like he's skirting the truth here or trying to wrap some other motive into being here for what appears to be a good reason from what he said? You could roll an insight check to make that, to see if you could tell any.
Can I go ahead and do that?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. And from that, you can tell that the way he postures himself, the way that he's speaking plainly.
I like how you're using P words.
There's a reason for that in his background.
Oh, God.
It does seem that he's being very forward and very truthful, and almost in this very not abrasive, but very abrupt, very very direct manner of being, that he's here for a purpose, and that purpose seems to be good. And that's the kind of sensation that you get from him, and you get this feeling that there's very few people that have this level of honesty or directness. It's a rare quality. I always accidentally, if not, I don't know, maybe on purpose, I'm not entirely sure yet, I always add an extra 2 or 3 syllables into that name for some reason.
I know.
There's no such thing as too many insignificant vowels.
So it's been a few minutes have passed since you heard the horn sound from the keep in the center of town, and a few minutes have gone by, and you can see that the actual main entrance begins to open, and from it a procession of slightly more disciplined, a little better looking armored folk than those that are on the outskirts of town keeping an eye out. Seems to be kind of circled around a lone half-elf as they begin walking from the keep across the town in your direction.
I'm gonna make a perception check to notice him. Is he like the only half, like, would he be like noticeably the only half elf around?
No, it's not the only half elf. There, yeah. So if you want to go ahead and roll your perception, kind of get a look around here. There's a general mix of races, even surprisingly enough, dwarves, and mixed with some half elves. You don't see any that look to be true elves in uh, it all, but there's mostly humans. There's a handful of halflings and half elves, and then a couple of dwarves.
So can we all make a perception check?
You can feel free to, yes. See if you can spy anything else about. Yeah, so with it is fairly obvious the procession moving forward, but that's about the most that you can anyone has been able to discern out of any of the goings on. You know, you can see that there appears to be um, a great number of makeshift forges that are with fires that are currently going than would be typical for a town of this size. Um, but that is the only thing out of the ordinary other than the presence of the guards and the reconstruction efforts taking place.
Do we know where we're going, or is there a specific person we're supposed to be looking for?
You know that
Just
you're
the monk?
supposed to meet Leosin here in the town, but that is your primary directive. In the event that the monk is unobtainable, your follow-up contact is Governor Nighthill. There's slow progression of the caravan moving um, towards the inner city. At this time, that procession from the keep comes kind of within shouting distance at this point. Just down at the other end of the street as they're walking with direct purpose to meet you.
Well, those guys look important.
Can I sneak to the edge where people don't necessarily notice me?
Yes, if you may. Uh, the the road is not much wider than the caravan and the horses traveling on either side of it at the moment, but it'd be easy to kind of, especially this is a bristling network of alleyways and stuff on either side, especially as you've got this close to the inner part of the city. You could definitely traverse either throughout the alleyways, you know, shadowing one street over, or just trying to mix in and look like you belong with um, part of the workers and those that are around you.
Yes, that's what I would like to do.
You'd like try to kind of fit in with more of like the workers. Yeah, go ahead and just roll a stealth check. Yeah, you seem to be fitting in pretty well. Those around you kind of lost direct focus on you, and you manage to just slip into the crowd. And just after you do, at this time, the procession comes, and almost in unison, everyone kind of stops and kind of stands at attention as they're kind of boxed around this half-elf, who then will call out, "Hello there! Are you the Mandalayan adventurers we've been waiting for?" As he's kind of pushing his way through, and he's like, "Get out of the way, you silly people!" As he's pushing the guards that are kind of ringing around him out of the way as he's trying to make his way out to meet you up front. Splendid, splendid. So I take it you've been comprised of the situation? What is at hand? Ah, very well. So, as you can see, construction is underway again. Looking about, there's very little in the town to spare. We managed to get in a few orders, turned in a few favors, brought in some workers, at least so the people here can have a place to rebuild after the invasion. That is of little matter, though. That is not the threat. It's not the rebuilding effort you're here for. It's the dangers that lurk beyond. Those that invaded here was just a mere... This event was just a mere bleep on their radar. This was just an amassing of wealth they're doing something terrible with. It's the cult, you see. The cult of the dragon. Terrible people. And they're up to no good. I take it you've heard of Rezmir? The Black. Worm Speaker of the Black. He's up to this, I know. He's probably at it again. I'm sure of it. The cult seems to always be after freeing Tiamat, although I don't have any proof that's what they're doing, but I can only assume that that's their main goal. We can't let that happen. None of this gloomy nonsense out in front of the folk. Come, let's back to the keep. Let's talk about what you can do to help. And with that, it just kind of looks, make sure that you're kind of following him as he's already kind of turned and started walking back, and he's kind of looking over his shoulder just to see that you, in fact, are following back to the keep. And then you can kind of see him ruffle past his... Now the guards have closed the circle. You can tell that although they're better trained than your average townsfolk at guards, are really not very good at it. So they've already kind of closed the circle back where he was, where he'd kind of pushed his way out, just because it's the only formation they know. And he just kind of walks up to them and he's like, "You're supposed to be circling around me to protect me. Why are you blocking my way?" Because he just kind of pushes them out of the way, and so he can get back to, and then they just kind of all turn and then walk back towards the keep.
I get down off my horse and kind of stroke it on the neck and get it to follow me.
At this point, your group will start splitting from the caravan. The caravan is going to kind of The rest of the merchants and such that were just a part of this are now breaking off to go. Some are delivering lumber. Some of the workers are just going over to meet with some people that they've already know from other jobs or their bosses or companies that they work for, and then they're starting to split away, leaving just the four of you.
Oh, borrowed horses. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so as you kind of start to separate, the one of the merchants is going to come up to you and talk particularly about that. The adventure group paid 3 weeks of contract for these horses. You've got a week left. I expect those back. We'll be here for the next week or so. But there is 4 horses. Well, one of them is Laurel's own horse, and then, or at least one that he's borrowed or contracted in some way. And then the other 3, your actual 3 horses that are available directly for you. And so he's going to ask you at this time, do you want me to go ahead and take them to the stables and you pick them up, or do you want to take them with you?
I'll let him take the horse to the stables so he can have a good rest. But I give him a stern warning not to put those spurs on him again. I will know.
As you commanded, so it shall be. And so he's going to go ahead and start leading at least the 3 horses that would have been intended for the original group members. Is Laurel going to take his horse, or does he want to leave it with to go to the stables with the other horses? Okay. Alright, so the 4 of you proceed to the keep. As you enter, as you approach and get ready to enter, particularly Fane, are you going to be following into the keep with them, or are you going to be staying outside?
Can I make a perception check to see what we should do?
What now?
Can I make a check to see what we should do? I don't know what role that would be, but
To see what you should do as far as...
like if the keep looks safe, or like we should follow or not follow.
You can roll insight if you like to see if Leosin's intent is.
Okay.
If he's seen it, will like kind of try to discern what his intent is. And at least to your knowledge, he seems to be actually inviting and genuine. Is that he was the one who initiated the contract, and it seems apparent that he is who he says he is. And so it doesn't seem out of the place for him to make such a request. Now, I mean, whether it's safe or not, I mean, that's entirely, it doesn't seem to be, he does not seem to be deceptive. And the keep itself did withstand an assault and was not breached. That you can tell. At least not breached, like the walls weren't caved in or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay, so all 4 of you, as you enter, the portcullis is going to close behind you, and Leosin's going to lead you into a conference room in the back. And as you kind of make your way through the keep, and as he's kind of leading you in the back, as you come into this conference room, you can see maps strewn all over this table. There's some stuff pinned up with scrawlings of different information. You can see stuff about, also pinned up about the city itself, and like different areas that indicate different parts of repair. Lists you can see thrown about, like sheets that contain, you know, different inventories and supplies, and different ledgers of that type, as well as accounting figures and that sort of thing. And you can kind of see all these things as you enter. Let's see.
Is it all in common?
Yes. Yeah, nothing seems to be scripted in any other language. It seems to be the more likely for most. It's very typical of most business type documents, as that is more widely known language, or most, not just more, the most widely known language. In mixed towns, anyway. I mean, it'd be obviously different in a stronghold, in a dwarven stronghold, or you know, an actual all-elven city or something like that. But in this case, since there's definitely a bunch of mixed folk. Sorry, I've lost my map.
Okay, that perception was to notice if notice Laurel stopping.
Yes.
We were in a conference room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a map.
Alright, so you'll see a map. It's not the full. This full map isn't everything that you actually see on the maps all around. Most of it is just the area from like Baldur's Gate down to the mountains. Like it's just that little bit of trim that is the block. Basically Baldur's Gate over to the marsh of Tun, down to the mountains and over. Like that's just what the map shows. It's just that, and you can see some drawings on. Not too sure exactly what those markings mean exactly, but it's a pretty good assumption that have something to do with movements.
Can I make a perception check to see if I notice anything else?
On the map or in the room?
The map and the papers in the room.
Okay, go ahead.
Nice roll.
Yeah, so
All the things.
you know all the things. And so yeah, you could so all the stuff that you're looking around, you can see that most of the stuff seems to be used by those that are actually managers of the town and the rebuild. Most of the stuff, but then there is the area where you can kind of see Leosin is when he's come into the room. He's gone to this kind of particular section of the table with directly behind him being a corner, and then there's the map on the wall behind him, and this seems to be more his focus. Most of the room being those things about the rebuild and trying to make sure that people have food, things of that nature, and yeah, you can see on the map, and you can kind of think, as soon as you know much about the contract, and you know about the Raiders camp. Everyone knows that Leosin was captured, whether by not entirely sure. It was made to seem like he was captured on purpose, although that's yet to be not really sure if it was on purpose, as some people like to boast. I let myself get caught, as so much as it is but he was definitely captured, and that some adventurers had lost their lives to make sure that he got out. That much you know, as part of some main camp that was the south of Greenest. And so it's very perceptive for you to know that it seems like the X on the map, just in the edge of the mountains, in the bowl, in some bowl of a valley, hidden in the mountains where this is marked, is the location of the Raiders' camp. And yeah, and you definitely get an idea that that these things that have been drawn have to do with movements, likely from scouting efforts, or something of the like since then.
Oh, someone's doing some swordplay outside or something.
They could be practicing swords, or could be armors actually, just moving or rattling as they're crafting and shaping and taking rust off of old archaic weapons that have long since seen real use. Yeah, so as he's kind of not said anything as he's come in here. He's just kind of taking, as you're kind of looking around, you're looking at the maps, just trying to get an idea of the situation. He's like, I'm glad you should ask that. I guess we should be about business now. I don't think it's likely that the raiders have changed much in such a hurry. It's been a couple of weeks, but I imagine that their base of operations is still a point of interest, something that we should care about. There have been other raids in the area, and they have recently subsided. So there was, small villages like not even so much as a town, but little farmhouses along the way have been raided off and on up until the big invasion, which is what led me to think that this place was on the map next as something big. And since then, there have been a few raids, but only within the week after when I was traveling to Candlekeep in order to contact the adventurers group. Since I have returned, there has been no word of any raids at all. And so I have some suspicion that orders have changed, or something is happening that we need to know about. As well, when I was in the camp, the kobolds definitely made it known that there were dragon eggs hidden there. They've been hidden there for a while, and I think it was their plan to hatch them and then bend them to their will as a part of raising them. We can't let that happen. We know that they have at least the friendship or agreement or something of one adult dragon. Devastating foe. could clear out armies, especially of, no offense to the guards, of this level of training. They don't have the discipline to deal with something of that magnitude. But many of them, for them to have raided, especially something as big as this town, such veracity of which they did so, it can only mean that they're trying to accumulate wealth to prepare to move them, or they might be so close to hatching that they can't move them, and so they're preparing defenses or just to feed. I can't even fathom looking at the ledgers of what it takes to feed these workers, what it would take to feed an army of baby dragons. I don't know. I can't really say to their purpose, but it's something we need to know about. Is that's what's happening? Are there dragon eggs there? We need to find out. And if there are, we need to bring them back. We need to get them out of their clutches. That's what you need to do first. I need you to return to the camp. I need you to see what state it's in. Have they bolstered their defenses? Are they accumulating wealth for that reason? And enter in, do whatever would hurt the cult in the long run would be great. The dragon eggs are the prime priority. Back here? You mean the dragon eggs back here?
Yeah, was
No.
this town not just leveled by this cult, pretty much?
Well, this would be a stopping point. This is not where we'd want to house them or protect them by any means. I
I would
myself
hope not.
am going to travel north to El Turel. El Turel. I need to convey what I've learned to Onthar Froom, a paladin of Torm, who shares his concern over the cult of the dragon's recent surge in activity. I've been waiting patiently for your arrival so that I can convey what needs to happen first, but I need to leave as soon as I can now that you know what to do. If you return and I am not here, I'm not made my way back, look for me there. If you've got the dragon eggs, bring them with you. Protect them to the best of your ability. We'll know what to do better after I've been able to talk to the paladin and several of the order.
And Onthar was the head paladin?
He's not necessarily the head paladin, no. He's just at least a prominent paladin. A paladin of Torm. Who he just knows personally and has vested interest into the cult and knows that there's wrongdoing. And someone that, with some types of proof as to what has happened, could actually rally some masses, or could do something that he is not in a current position to be able to rally. He's already seemingly expended all of his influence just in hiring you.
Okay.
All of this is going to take time. I don't believe that any absolute rush is necessary, so take a moment to make plans if you must. But we need to make sure that this is taken care of before too much time passes. So as far as carrying an army of dragon eggs, he doesn't know how many there are, if they're even there. So it may take, some, as Rowan said, some sacks or some way to just physically get them out. If there's that many, it may require a trip there and back to acquire wagons or something of the like, or it might be something you need to prepare for on the front side. He said he's going to leave the adventuring to the Adventurers Guild, and with that, he must make plans to leave. If you have need of anything, the town has very little to offer, but if there's something you do need, speak with Governor Nighthill. I'm sure that for a cause such as this, he'd be willing to spare what little we have.
The size of the eggs we would probably have some idea of. Would they be like an ostrich egg, basically?
It kind of depends on the dragon itself, like what kind of dragon egg it is, because they vary quite a bit. Everything from ostrich egg up to small boulder, halfling sized eggs, or more I guess more probably a little stockier than a halfling, like a dwarven sized egg.
Oh man.
Unknown. It's completely unknown as to what, if there really are dragon eggs that the kobolds, like the information the kobolds had that's where he had gotten it from when he was there, that's what the kobolds were talking about was dragon eggs, but they never said, how big they were, what kind of dragon eggs or anything of the like. They could be little bitty some sub-race of dragonkin that is real tiny. It seems unlikely, especially with the passion that they were being spoken about. So with that, he's going to go ahead and start. Now you can see him walk over to the map on the wall, and he's going to go ahead and start pinning, taking pins out of it and start pulling it down. And with that, I need to make way. I need to take this information. I need to take everything that I've got. Do you have any questions for me? Is there anything you need to see before I pack it away?
Is there anything else you can tell us about the camp, or is the information we have the most recent?
No one has ventured close to the camp, just due to the sheer potential danger. We didn't have anyone of a skill set that could survive such an encounter, at least not where we left it. I'm going to give you a, he says, but this, I don't actually need this, and then he's going to give you a small map of the raiders' camp. I had it somewhere.
Would that include the alternative way in that the other group took?
Unfortunately, with that, he would not know.
Okay.
So this is just, this is a lot more detailed than the map that he's going to actually show you, because it was something sprawled, just after the fact on paper. Yeah, and so what you basically is going to say, here's the shape of the valley, he's gonna say this is where it was, and he's gonna point to that big map and says it's. There were tons of just filthy, dirty hovels that encompass the majority of the front part of the camp, where you can see in the valley here. Up on the backside was a tall guard tower that looked over the back. There was also some nicer huts that were along the edge. Also the hut where I was kept, all on the eastern edge of the actual camp itself. And then on the easternmost and the furthest back is where the cave lied. None of us actually made it far in. I was going in after we had just escaped from the big tent to try to see what I could find, but in doing so, they circled us, and that's when, unfortunately, my companions gave their life so that I might slip away. They distracted. We had just made it to the inside of the cave, just to know that it was a cave, and that was it, before we were surrounded.
Can I pickpocket Leosin before he leaves?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can I pickpocket him now that I've moved closer to him?
To him being the monk?
Yes.
What are you trying to pickpocket, I guess?
Just if there's any papers or any more information he might be hiding.
Okay, go ahead and roll a sleight of hand. So I kind of envision this like almost the Vegas stage of the magician that's able to like take the watches off and while the person is standing there completely unaware. So you kind of walk up beside him and you just kind of put one arm around him and say, don't worry, we'll take care of this, and all the while, so you're talking and your other hand is just in the pocket, and he's got on these long robes, and there's a small belt pouch that he's got around, and a quick yet invasive search. So there is a little bit of coin in the belt pouch, and in the actual robe pockets themselves on the outside at least. As you kind of walk to the other side, and you kind of see pointing at the map, and then as he's kind of bending over, you find this, go to actually find stuff in his pockets, and they're empty. But throughout it seems that he has taken no notice of your attempts. While you're rooting around for the coins, and you notice that there are coins there, are you going to try to take them?
No, I'll leave them for now.
No. And, so his pockets appear to be empty. He's got this leather satchel, kind of like a fold-over satchel that he's trying to cram papers into, but everything seems to be, it was empty before he started putting stuff into it.
Okay.
So what you see is almost essentially exactly what you've got. The half-elf's gonna kind of look around either way, and he's gonna say, well, whenever you'd like, I guess. I'm leaving now. Is there anything else? I must be on the way. The sooner the better. We need to rally everything we can. That's gonna take time.
Did there appear to be any weak points in their defenses of this camp at all? Like, what would be the best way in? This cave is at the very back.
Well, I guess that depends on your individual skill sets. kind of strokes his chin a little as he's thinking. There are definitely ways that you could get in deceptively. There are quite a few hunters that come and go. There's a whole pack of them, and they're definitely not a part of the cult. They're just getting paid for a job. A rather estranged lot, really. A bunch of far woods folk that don't see people very often. And they've got them going out and gathering meat for the camp at regular intervals. It's very conceivable that you could slip in under the guise of such a ruse. Although likely, since our last encounters, they have likely upped either they've bolstered the defenses, or they're at least going to be more suspicious than they were before of those coming and going. Most of the lower tiers were all inhabited by kobolds, and they're rather stupid beasts, to be honest. So they could be duped. They're also not very threatening. But those that aren't duped could be dealt with. Perhaps some climbing gear in the still of the night, rappel down a side. I mean, these are all options, but I couldn't really say what the best way is. If I was a master of that, I'd go do it myself. If you're the brutish sort, who's to say you don't just kill everyone all the way in, all the way to the back? It's not like they wouldn't deserve it. Although, that's rather rash.
Where can I go to buy some equipment? Do we go see the governor for that?
It depends on the equipment you need, I'd suppose. If you need a good, a weapon or two, most of the good stuff's located here in the keep. Provisions of other types, likely out amongst the merchants, those that you rode in with.
I think I'm okay for weapons, but I was thinking of purchasing some bags, perhaps to carry some eggs back.
Yes, with that, something of that nature, you might, just check with those construction crews. Surely they've got to carry goods and such a sack. Surely they could accommodate. Just tell them I or the governor sent you, and they'll send the bill to us.
Oh, very kind of you.
So he's going to go ahead and start packing up the rest of his stuff and folding his map, one map rather neatly with the big map from the wall. He's not going to fold up. He's going to roll into an actual, like a scroll, and put into something similar to a scroll case. That's when I kind of start gathering up. And then it says, if I'm not back, and you must dredge the way all the way to Elturel, there's 150 gold pieces apiece for you. I know the contract already has paid, but this is worth from my own stores. I'll make sure to secure funds where I'm going. Meet me there if I'm not back. And then walks out.
Good. I'm gonna go find somebody to buy some equipment from.
Alright, so you're just gonna basically just follow him out of the room, making your way back through the keep. Are you going to try to leave the keep, or are you gonna try to ask around for those, for anyone here?
Nope. I'm just gonna walk out and kind of go in the direction that I saw our caravan going.
Okay. Yep. So as you kind of leave the conference room, there's like a small staging area, like almost like a barracks, just that was connected to the conference room, that you have to walk through into like an open foyer that you can just walk out towards the keep. And as you do, as you start to walk towards the portcullis, you'll see some guards up above that are kind of standing guard on either side of the actual lower parts, call to those above, and without even asking or anything, as you walk forward, the portcullis is raising as you're walking towards, walking your way out of the keep. What's everyone else going to be doing?
I'm gonna be looking for a place to play, because not enough attention has been paid to me lately. From Laurel.
I'll follow Rowan, but from a distance,
Okay.
blending in with the people there, the locals.
Okay. Yeah. And you're looking for a place to play? Are you going to look inside the keep, or are you going to go outside with the commoners?
Oh, the
Okay. So I take it then that everyone's kind of traipsing their way outside of the keep at this juncture?
Mm-hmm.
not traipsing, more prancing.
Prancing. Some meandering, some traipsing, some bebopping to their own tune.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright, so as you leave the keep, the portcullis closes behind. As you kind of emerge out into the actual city itself. It is roughly lunchtime right now, so you can see quite a few small pockets of, there seems to be continuous work going about, so they're likely taking lunch in shifts, but there are definitely large pockets of people, cook fires, or large, stew or some sustenance that can be made in mass in a large pot is being cooked. That would be a likely place where people are gathering.
I'm gonna start dancing over there then, and bringing out my lyre and start playing some music.
Alright, go ahead and roll a perform check. Okay. With the long travels, and the impending adventure. Since this is your first, the nerves are getting to you a little. You don't play with your normal bravado, but at the same time, for the commoners, they're entertained by it. There's a handful of cheers for you to continue when your first song ends.
I'm gonna be kind of just walking around, table to table, group to group, making eye contact with as many of the young dames as I can.
And let's see, Rowan's headed for the merchants.
Yes.
Okay, so as you head over, you can definitely see where they'd start setting up like tents, almost like at a bazaar, where they started setting things up. Some are supplies that are going directly to the builders, but then there's some things, some trade goods and things like that that people are setting up just to take advantage of the influx of people. Kind of as you do, as you kind of head over into this general direction, you definitely grab notice of quite a few as you're actually heading over that way. Ah, what can I do for you, lass? Looks like you've got an eye for some goods, do you? Oh, we've got plenty. What's your take for today?
I'm looking for something to carry a heavy load. Maybe some bags or a net that I could wrap it with.
Oh, heavy?
Potentially.
Well, you know about what size we can accommodate you for? Small block of lead's pretty heavy, or a horse is pretty heavy. I mean, somewhere in between.
Something about this big, and I kind of gesture with my arms out in a big circle.
Well, I'm sure we got some leather straps and not so much of a big circle. Leather, let's see, this big, and you kind of see him. Kind of his head's kind of cocked, and he's kind of looking up to the right as he's deep in thought, trying to. You can even see his fingers move like he's counting on his fingers. And let's see.
Does he have his goods out, or we can see them?
Some yes. Mostly, things like different tents have. Different little bits, everything from trinkets to food to novelty items to small tools to regular trade goods, such as lamps and oil, and I mean they're kind of broken up into different areas. This seems to be more like a head merchant or someone who's there to kind of direct you where you need to go.
He's a Walmart greeter.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yeah, and so we're looking at...
Can I make a perception check to see if I see anything that we're looking for?
Yeah, just about. Like this laying about, of course. It's all a little bit overwhelming, and you see a lot of more goods that are associated, directly associated with stuff, like end caps kind of things that would catch people's eyes for impulse purchase. Seems to be more what's set aside. So something that you're looking for is probably something more specialized, something that they might have, may or may not have, but it would be definitely like in boxes or in the back. That'd be kind of stuff they keep in the back that you'd have to ask for by request. Like, well, so he's kind of figuring, and you wonder if he's doing his figuring as to how much money can I get from these suckers, or actually trying to figure out how he could possibly accommodate maybe little gray area in between those two. And say, well, we've got some large leather straps. We got wagons, of course, some horses to pull them if you needed that. We got smaller sacks, canvas and the like, linen, canvas. Don't really have any like leather sacks that might carry something that size. Small satchels and the like if you're looking for a new handbag.
I don't need a new handbag, but maybe those canvas bags might work. And I might take a few of the leather straps.
Things like we carry vegetables in, big 50-pound bags of vegetables.
If you can carry a pumpkin in it, it might work.
Pumpkin? Big pumpkin? Little bitty pumpkin? Big pumpkin? About this big. Okay, yeah, sure. We got canvas bags that would cover that. Maybe a couple pumpkins. Even.
And how much would you ask for those?
Kind of see a gleam in his eyes as well. I guess that depends. Mighty fine folk here looking for a specialty purpose. It's hard to get goods down this way.
I'm
Can I
sure.
use deception to convince them that we don't have a lot of money?
Yes, that would be deception. Oh, he's having none of that. You and your fancy clothes, I think not. If you don't have money, you definitely have goods. Plus, we rode in with you. We know a little more about you than you think.
So how much are you asking?
Well, see, you want a handful of canvas bags? 5 of them? 10 of them?
3.
3? 3. And a couple other straps, you say?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna kind of give the big sigh. Well, I guess I could let that go for, maybe 6 gold or so. Something like that.
I can do that.
You might want to sign off on that before TX comes over here and tries to get ones with lace and sequins and charge it to the governor.
Oh boy.
I'd like your sequin handbag and your this fine leather satchel here. This will do nicely.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to mention that Leosin or the governor were going to cover this.
They are they? Here you were trying to convince me you had no money, but you're on credit? I see. I know when I've been
Oh, we
had.
want our friends to get the best price?
Here I was thinking I was doing you a personal favor.
I'm sure it's much better to have the favor of the governor.
Well, in my day,
In a
dearie,
town where you've set up shop?
a favor of a couple of fine lasses such as yourself
Can
seems
I
to have
roll
more
for
sway
persuasion
than that
to
of a
help
governor.
Rowan?
I'm sorry, what?
Can I roll persuasion to help Rowan try to convince him?
Yeah. Fine, I guess if you've twisted my arm so much, we agreed upon a price. You're with the governor. I know that they're sponsoring you, so sure, 6 gold. I'll put it on the ledger.
Thank you.
Next time
I
it'll
take
take
this-
more than a wink, though, to head old Merchant's Guild. I'll tell you that.
Oh, now next time I'm sure we'll bring much more business to you than a couple of canvas bags. And put them in my backpack. I'm not sure if there's a actual item for those. Is there? Like in the library?
You know, I'm not sure. I think there's a sack for sure. We can always just put that in there. Just, no, we can just make custom items. I know there's no leather straps by default.
So did you mention that there was like a bread line or something, the equivalent thereof, back where TX was performing? Like they were serving stew or something?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
I'm curious as to whether using my rustic hospitality feature, if I could get in on some of that action for free.
Oh, yeah, your background feature. What is, Oh, yeah, because you're... Okay, yeah. You could for sure, yes. So as you kind of make your way through the bread line, you getting in line, preparing to pay, you know, as though you would normally. You kind of make small talk, and one of the people who's not the guy actually serving the food, but one of the other people behind him who's, you know, seems to be a little more hard to do, a manager of some sort, keeping tabs over the goings-ons, takes special note of your shield, and the crest emblazoned on it. So, wait a minute. Don't I know you? I'm pretty sure I've seen this symbol before. Seem to be under some wear there. Aren't you Sir Laurel?
Is this in my vicinity?
It's pretty close, yeah. You're in the area, although you're not standing directly nearby.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just out of ear. Like you can see him over there interacting, but you know, you're still
Out of earshot.
just directly out of earshot from regular conversation. He's going to take the extended hand. It's like, I thought that was you. And then he's just kind of wave your hand away. The one that had, you know, the coin purse in it. And he said, all right. You come eat and sit. Take all the time you need to rest. This guy, he doesn't pay for anything. Well, anything within reason. If it doesn't seem like reason, you talk to me. So, you know, before he turns and kind of walks away, I said, we're glad to have you about. Folk like you, that's what this town needs. More than those just looking for coin. but those true heroes, those that work for the man, against the man, for the people. Then he's just gonna start looking at himself. I'm confusing myself. No, I need. And he just turns and walks away. He's all confused. He confused himself. Working against, and then you kind of hear him muttering off the working against the man. And he's all flustered because he met, he just encountered someone who he thinks is, famous at least notable. It's like, you stupid idiot, saying the wrong thing.
Can I come out of the tent and see Laurel eating and persuade him to share with me?
Yeah, so as you kind of, as you guys leave the tent, you kind of come back towards the food area since you know that's where they went off to. Yeah, you can sure make an attempt to persuade him. So, typically with character interaction, we like to go a hair step further than just the roll. So how are you going to try to persuade him? What are you going to say? He does. So you notice that that Morn never, he kind of went scouting south, but he never really made it into the city. You figure that he would have met up with you by now. So, given that, seems like that his unwillingness to come in contact with the monk kind of got the better of him, and so he's likely only going to meet you somewhere south of town, on your way out, or perhaps later, all depending, if you can find him. You know that he's known for being mostly a loner. Or some of you do anyway, those that actually know him. So whether it's the nervousness of just having to interact with a bunch of people, or the monk, or something, you expect to find him. You know he's dependable. Right. Do we wish to make... so as our conversation is progressing, or recuperating at least a moment's rest, you've been riding and traveling hard for nearly 2 weeks. How much time would you like to take in your preparation and planning before setting south towards the camp?
I'm okay to head out shortly. I think I've got everything I need. The only thing I want to do is talk about our approach before we get there.
So maybe a day or two to plan everything, or plan some.
I don't think we'd even need that long, would we?
It also depends on, if you're going to plan here or plan on the road. You do know that you're looking at perhaps 2 days travel to the camp.
I'll plan on the road then.
Day and a half. It's hard to say, just from a glance at the map and how accurate those distances are, or or whatever. But at least definitely more than a full day.
And it's already halfway through the day now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're right at essentially noon.
Yeah, that'd be fine to plan on the road. In which case, after lunch, I would go find my horse.
You did notice the stabling area on your way in, so it's an easy find. And those working the stables are some of the people that rode with and are well aware of, know which horse is yours, and kind of already have your horse prepared. Sans bit and bridle and spurs as requested.
Mm-hmm. So we're heading out then?
Lead the way.
Alright, so being this close to the city as you head out south, Is there? So you've collected some. You've collected your horses, and you begin your traveling. Is there any particular awareness level that you're looking for at this? As soon as you leave, are you on high? Is everyone on high guard immediately upon leaving, or is this something that would take place? Increase as time went by.
I'm going to be keeping an eye out basically as soon as we leave town. This is sort of in my element, I guess, now that we're out of the city, but the other thing, I'd like to keep an eye out for any medicinal herbs we may come across in the fields that I could use my herbalism kit with.
Laurel's going to be growing in alertness the further south we move.
Okay.
Fane seems to always watch the edges of everywhere we go.
Always on high alert. Never
Yeah.
trusting. Never.
Right.
Okay. And so, let's see. Have you set your herbalism kit up in your skills yet?
Yeah, I've got one for dexterity, intelligence, and wisdom, like we talked about.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we had. I didn't remember if we had done that or not. So okay, good. Let's go ahead and do. An intelligence. Since intelligence is the stat linked to searching, maybe more like an investigation, particularly with your herbalism kit. Oh yeah, so I mean, out in the wild, there are several types of herbs that you notice as you head south. Now I'm trying to think about how the best way to do that. Usually, those supplies are done in a gold's worth, a certain amount of gold's worth of supplies if you gather them, like with tinkerers, it uses, so much gold worth of tinkerer's supplies in order to create something or whatever.
Right.
So I'm thinking that the same would be held in regard for herbalism as well. So at least between, we're kind of doing things in a sweeping motion. This is all as we make way towards the first night's, to the first dusk, if you will, or sunset. Is it the plan to set up camp at dusk or sunset, or is it to travel hard to your location?
I would set up camp.
We're looking for setting up camp for the evening. Yeah, so we'll basically on your trip there, we'll say that you've acquired 10 gold worth of herbs along the path that you're walking. Try not to stray too far from what you know to be the path towards the camp. And it doesn't seem like it'd be, at least at first, there's just so much activity that's been happening. Everything seems to be just trodden flat everywhere. But once you get an hour or so away to the south, you definitely pick up on where it seems to be a more concentrated trail, perhaps even the one from the large forces moving back and forth from the invasion itself. So you're following it most of the way.
Makes sense.
Alright, so let's say we're just about to hit the 2 hour mark, so it's about our halfway point. So let's say that we make it to, let's say we make it to the night, we set up our camp. We would set up standard rotations. Dawn comes with no interruptions of rest of any kind. And let's take a few minutes for an intermission, if you will. And then we'll pick up at the dawn of the next day.
Okay.
So, 10 minutes, we'll say. If that's okay with everybody.
Sure.
Huh. That's where I installed Notepad++.
Microphone muted. Microphone activated.
Alright. I'm back. Just reading our little conversation while I was good. Alright, is everybody back and ready to proceed?
I think we're all here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, good deal then. So we're gonna wake up, are having no out of the ordinary events happening throughout the night, and begin traversing southward again.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so just a few minutes of packing up the camp. It was wasn't meant to be a long-lasting thing. It was just a makeshift camp, just to make it through the evening. And go ahead and pack up and begin traveling southward. So,
Do we want to talk about how we're going to get into the camp before we get there?
I think that would be a good idea.
Because I would bring up that topic.
So what do we know about these hunters? I mean, it's not a lot, but we know some important things, right?
Leosin said that they are very unlike the rest of the cult.
Well, that they're not part of the cult. They just are doing a job.
Right.
And I think you described him in a way that, I guess a word that might be really good here would be rustic. They're real loners, out in the woodsy kind of people. Wouldn't be known for, cleanliness or shininess.
Cough, cough.
Just some things to think about. Are we expecting everyone to be deceptive? Is there multiple tasks that need to take place?
Our main mission is to get the eggs, but also to hinder the cult in any way that we can find as well, right?
Yeah, that would be definitely a secondary objective. Just doing anything to hinder, harm, stop, lesser their strength in some way, would all be beneficial. Also, do you think the hunters stay at the camp normally? Would they leave when they come back? Is there a certain set of conditions that must be the case when they come back, very likely?
Likely they would have some food, which is something that I could take care of easily enough.
That was not supposed to be in the emotes, but okay.
Otherwise, they may have a hunter's camp that we should try to get into first. Or?
Definitely put the ingrate in ingratiate.
Let's say we made it to about midday during part of our discussions, and roll some perception checks. I'm sure we have things to discuss still, but...
Terrible.
A couple of you maybe got a little too energetic in your thoughts of plans and were in deep thought. I've kind of lost some of your perceptive.
I'm deep in my makeup kit.
User joined your channel.
Paying too much attention to the plants.
Wow, that is some crazy coincidence. That,
Oh, hi.
Because I was just fixing to say, that Morn is, that Fane and, well, Fane recognizes Morn as he rides hard, trying to catch up to the camp from more from the west than you would have anticipated. And that was entirely coincidence, because I was going to have him pop in and tell you some stuff and then go out to continue scouting. And just...
Oh.
Well, keep on going on.
But Laurel notices the person riding hard, and not knowing arrived after Morn had already left. So this would be, at least to him, unknown as to what's going on. And Fane calls out, and that draws the attention of everyone else in the group in the direction of the rider riding hard. Just a moment passes as he's riding, as the distance draws, and you can actually make out now that it is in fact your previously missing monk. And for the sake of brevity, I'll tell you what I was going to tell you that he saw. And that is that when he's out scouting tracks, for a good half day or so more than you guys have been following the path almost directly. And he had to ride through the night to catch you, as he had followed a large number of tracks that were leading west, back towards some of the more prominent roads that run north and south, closer to the coast. Has also seen sparse other paths that look to be recently traveled as well, going off in almost random directions aside from the main heavily traveled path heading due west.
So he saw tracks, but not, we don't know of what.
It was hard to tell for the path to the west because there were so many. It's a lot of stuff walking on top of other tracks, and so it's all kind of mashed together, but there's definitely cartwheels as well as, you know, ruts created by those, and many footprints, a lot of them traveling west.
Traveling west from Greenest, or?
No, from much further south.
Oh.
He hasn't followed them to either end on either direction. He followed them west for a while and saw no end, and then knew that he had to turn around and come back right hard to catch you guys.
Well, should we check these tracks first in case they've picked up camp and left? Or maybe that means they went out on another raid to one of the cities to the west and maybe lightly defended at the camp? So what did we decide? Are we going straight to the camp as hunters?
That sounds good to me.
Or should we try to find the hunters first?
Yeah, sword and shield is not the usual armament one would take to go hunting with. You spend a good bit of time preparing, talking about your plan as you continue traveling south. As dusk settles, and yet still you haven't seen any indication of scout or party itself. Although you do see that the mountains are definitely getting much closer. You would anticipate that if you were to camp for the night, you could make it by midday the next day, or middle of the night if you were to try to just leave, to try to just make your headway straight there.
I would prefer to camp. I think it would be weird if hunters arrived in the middle of the night.
I would want to go now, because just as soon as you catch something, then you bring it back type thing. Unless it's like some frozen place where meat keeps. Which I don't think we're in.
Yeah, it's definitely not frozen. And we are right smack in the middle of spring. We were early spring before. We're a few weeks in. We're now approaching the middle of spring.
I'd say dusk is when the best hunting is. So catching something around then, and then hauling it back to camp and arriving sometime in the night makes sense. Although dawn works good for hunting too.
Plus, we'll be more rested if we sleep now and then bring food in the morning or midday.
And more time to work on our disguise.
I would vote for a rest and then go to the camp, arrive midday. Just in time for lunch.
Okay.
Is that bag gonna fit Laurel's stuff?
Definitely. Since you think of it like it's like a big potato rucksack, if you will, and so yeah, I think it would.
Okay, so we'll camp and set up watches in case they do have scouts doing patrols. And then I'll go hunting in the morning and then we can head to the raider camp. Does that sound okay?
So as you guys start to set up camp for the evening, a light rain begins to fall.
Are there any trees? Or is it just plain?
It's pretty much open grassland. There might be some heavy brush, but nothing substantial as far as trees are concerned. What kind of watch order would we be taking? There's 5 of us. We could set up a reasonable watch.
I can go anytime.
Would anyone be... Would anyone not be interested, I guess, to hold their own watch?
I'm okay holding my own watch. I'd prefer to go last, I guess.
Okay.
How many shifts do we need?
That just all depends on the length of, each individual shift. I mean, you need to... Usually, a full night's rest is going to take somewhere between 8 and 10 hours of the full actual shift rotations, that kind of thing. So, 10 would be, you got 5 of you, would be 2 apiece, or you might only need 4 if you did 2 hours apiece. Only having a 2-hour shift is the maximum you can have, and it still be considered a long rest, assuming that no activity is taken, that you're actually most resting during that period of time. Combat happens or anything like that, it messes up the long rest entirely, just for future knowledge.
I thought it could be a long rest could be interrupted like once. So count.
You can have 2 hours of light stuff, but if it's interrupted, it does not count as a long rest.
Okay.
If you have a battle in the middle, no, it's not a long rest. It doesn't have to be sleep. It doesn't have to be 8 hours of sleep, but it does have to be 8 hours of rest, of which no more than 2 hours are mild activity. Battle would not be mild activity.
Are you taking a shift, Morn?
Well, I mean, Morn would take a shift. It wouldn't matter to him.
Okay, so we've got all 5 then.
Okay. And random perception checks for each person for their individual shift.
Can I take my shift as a wolf?
Sure can. Yeah, I mean, you have to use 2. Like, cause your wild shape only lasts an hour, right? So, you'd have
Yeah, but I get it back after a short rest, so I would have it again in the morning?
since your last shift though, right?
Oh, right. Okay, never mind. I won't do that then.
Yeah, so your rest would happen technically before your shift started even.
I needed it to. Oh well.
And then 1 from TX. Given that you anticipate that you're only, a few hours from the outskirts of what would be the camp, you try to be extra cautious through your shifts. And surprisingly, there are no sign of patrols or anything, even that there are signs of light or campfires or anything, as though it might be coming from the south. And the night passes without incident.
Okay, I'm gonna go do my hunting thing then, I guess. I have the Wanderer background feature as an Outlander that says I can find food and fresh water for myself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land offers berries, small game, water, and so forth.
Okay.
So I'd go hunting for rabbits or deer or whatever might live in this sort of grassland area.
I mean, this close to the mountain, you're gonna find, obviously rabbits and moles and other, field-like small game, rodents and that kind of thing. Although those are usually not sought first by any means. Getting closer to the mountain, though, you might actually expect to find wild goats. Maybe a deer, but it seems like that would be a lot more rare without having wooded areas. Let's see what we get. Oh yeah, so I actually got. You find as you go south just a little bit, you actually set up some traps for some rabbits, and then you kind of go hunting to see if there's any slightly larger game. Quite a bit of shrubbery. You can take one of the sacks and put quite a bit of berries and things like that in it, and then you come upon a small herd of goats. 6 in the small herd. find it very unlikely that you'll be able to catch all of them, but if that's something you would like to try to go after.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Go ahead and roll a survival roll. I think would probably be the easiest thing to handle without it taking it into combat. You are particularly skilled in that. And through both your knowledge of nature, living in the wilderness, and having to hunt game before, you managed to capture and kill 3 goats.
Oh, that's good.
And on your way back, you found 1 rabbit in a snare trap that you're. So you have about 3/4 of a gallon, if you would, of berries that you've picked, 3 goats, and a rabbit.
Who's helping me carry all this?
I'll carry a rabbit.
Perfect. Just your size.
It's all Laurel can do to just carry what he has in his little rucksack and not make noise with it.
Not so that it doesn't clink like metal. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh. If that's a problem, we can wrap them with some of those leather straps.
And make it harder to get in a pinch, but that could conceivably work.
I'll leave it up to Laurel.
Yeah, he's not going to be keen on wrapping the shield any more than it already is.
Okay. Morn, can you help me with some of these goats then? 3's a lot to carry.
I can carry 1 and 2. What's Morn carrying again?
Goats? Or...
Wait.
What?
What? Morn's carrying goats?
That's what she's asking you to carry.
Full-sized goats?
Mountain goats.
Why the hell do we need 3 mountain goats?
'Cause we're hunters.
Yes, that's a lot of meat to take from a hunt.
To a camp full of...
I could probably
People?
fireman's carry a goat.
Yeah, usually just strap it on your back and go town. As long as your hunter didn't make it bleed like a stuck pig.
I mean, I can tie them to my quarterstaff if somebody will carry the other end.
Morn's okay with that.
Okay. We'll do that then. Use my rope and my quarterstaff and carry them.
Yeah, you think that's I think you could reasonably do that. All 3 of them tied in such a way that, you basically hog tie all their feet together, and you just run the staff through it in a way. So it's just underneath is just providing lift support.
Mm-hmm.
They're dangling from the bindings that are actually tying on their feet.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want to get goat blood all over us.
Yeah, no, that's, I think that works out. I think you could set that up pretty trivially.
Alright, that's good. To the camp then. Yeah?
Onward.
Okay, so we're probably just a couple hours out from the camp, and as you get closer, you start seeing right around this time you start seeing all of this area off to the west, and even some to the east and north and northwest. There's a lot of traffic has come through some of this area. back and forth, likely out of the camp, and a lot of it looks fresh.
Oh, and TX has dirtied up Laurel a little bit, right? So he's not as shiny?
Yeah, I would prestidigitate that bitch.
Dirty him up.
The correct word is soiling.
Mm-hmm. And so, those that are disguising themselves want to go ahead and do like a wisdom-based disguise kit, followed by a dex-based disguise kit.
I wasn't here for that part, so am I disguising myself?
Do you have proficiency with a disguise kit?
No.
If you don't, you can't. It's pretty much the.
It's kind of just if you look like a hunter. So if you look pretty rough already, you might be okay. But if you're shiny like Laurel over here, then you might have a little more trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. I just don't need advantage. So on TX's dex based, since he's been primping for it for actually now a good while, I'll go ahead and allow him to have advantage on that dex based. Nope. Nope.
Yay for
That's
practice.
right. Take all the rolls.
So you know what you're supposed to look like. That's what the wisdom thing is you're trying to mimic, okay, so this is what I need to do, this kind of thing, and you apply it here.
I also had tried to look fabulous, apparently.
He comes out looking like Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Wearing her meat dress?
What, guys? I hunted.
That was providing food for entertainment. I mean, yeah, something like that. But
I lost a bet.
yeah, it definitely looks more like makeup and less like rustic, dirty, actually well-traveled person. You might be able to pull it off anyway, but it's definitely not your greatest handiwork, disguise.
And mine is okay.
Yes, Fane, on the other hand,
Hasn't rolled below a 16 yet today. Oh wait, 14.
That's
My
not
bad.
true. I rolled like a 2 or 3 earlier.
yeah. Yeah, on her stealth roll, her first stealth roll and sleight of hand were both really low. No, I guess sleight of hand wasn't that low, but still. Yeah, no, you with def training are spot on replication. Scarily, even as you come out of your tent, everyone has to do a triple take just to recognize, the half elf that was in the nice clothes now looks very downtrodden and doesn't even look like the same person anymore. The hair's different. The hair color is a little different. Just the grungy, like something that looks like it would be something you would actually take a lot of times being out in the wilderness without a bath, been able to be replicated as a common peasant rather easily. And so let us continue on. So with that, we're going to go ahead and come up to the camp, as you kind of see it coming up in the distance, a few hundred yards away now. You've kind of made yourself to the edge of the mountains and found a pathway around. Still yet no patrols, something of particular note. And then as you kind of come around, like up over a path and then down, into what would be this like bowl of a little valley, surrounded by these hills and plateaus. You can just barely see some small smolder of smoke coming up from the lower part of the camp, as it looks like, as you're just kind of coming up to it, that there is no one to be seen, at least out in the front area, and all of what they had described as where the kobolds lived in these hovels, dirty, nasty, just little hovels, have all been burned. Look like they've been scuttled and burned.
No sign of life at all. What about, can we see the ones further in the camp?
At least being this far out, as you're coming up and over, you can't even see the back of the camp yet.
Okay.
Because it's so much further down in the bowl than as where you come as you're coming up to it. But what you can see basically, if you're looking at the actual raider camp map itself, there's like the western part is real dark and the eastern part is real bright. Right where that kind of line is, where you can kind of see the path coming in, right in the middle, you can only see everything to the west half of that middle as you're coming in, and it all just looks like it's pretty smoldering and desecrated.
Smoke-tastic.
But Leosin said that if the eggs were close to hatching, they couldn't have moved them, right?
If that was yes, that is what he had. Yeah, that is one thing that he had said. If they were close to hatching, they couldn't risk moving them. As you close the distance, as you're traveling into the camp itself, you do see that the guard tower still stands. And we're looking at being maybe 100 yards or so out. Go ahead and roll perception. See how well we can everyone across the board. So now that we've kind of come, half the distance from where we were to the camp, I can kind of see over the lip a little bit. And it only looks like the hovels were burned. The guard tower itself, you can see that there is still a couple of people in it, and it remains intact. And then some of the larger tents that were housing some of the more higher ranked guards are still intact, back along the back edge.
Do the people in the guard tower seem to notice us?
Yes.
Or can we see from here?
Yeah, they seem to be looking out. You can see even one of them pointing off in your direction as he's talking to the person beside him. There does not appear to be any kind of horn or any kind of warning signals or anything like that at this juncture.
Just keep walking forward, I guess.
Keep walking.
As you come up underneath the tower, they kind of just start waving you on in. But as you walk by, roll a deception.
Everybody?
Everybody. Treat this as a group skill challenge, if you will. Taking into account our preparation.
I'm pretty rough looking anyway.
Can we hear them?
If they're speaking, it wouldn't be. It's not something that you've heard yet, anyway. So if they're talking, they're just talking close amongst themselves. The guard tower is 20 feet in the air or something like that, where they're stationed, and so they're just watching you as you come, so they can see up over the rise and look out in the distance for what might be oncoming at a distance. And so the first one is kind of giving you this real sour eye as you walk underneath, as you're walking by, and then kind of looking around, especially looking at Rowan and TX and Laurel, who have not rolled particularly well at their deceptive. It's very hard for Laurel to, mimic a non-upright, very astute, trained gait. And TX being small, just carrying a rabbit, kind of maybe a little more hop in his step than would be normally seen by regular hunters. Half skipping. But the other one just kind of waves his hand, motioning off, and then points off out back from the way you came. As he, and so kind of shrugs and takes off looking back towards. So now as you're kind of coming in here, you can see that there are things intact as you're looking in towards the way back. But up front, if you're looking around, you see nothing of. Not only was just like it burned, but like it was, everything was completely removed. There's none of the kobolds out here that were supposed to be out in this area. You don't see wagons, any kind of supply crates. You don't see goods, services, anything, set up like you would in some kind of camp or settlement at all. Kind of walking towards, you can see in the back where the large campfire is, and back towards the actual cave entrance, which you can now see as it comes into view. You can also see where, the cooking stores and stuff like that are, and in that side, there is a little bit of goods, just a couple of crates, a small fire with a big cook pot on it. Only a couple of people who also look rather rough and rustic that are around the campfire at the moment. As far as what you expected to see, none of those things, at least out here, are visible.
We should head towards the cooking area, right?
Yep.
Are there a lot of people over there, or just like 3 or 4 sort of thing?
Yeah, just 2 or 3 that you can see is it.
Oh. And where would that be?
The largest tent in the far east there, the easternmost tent, just south of that. almost directly in line with what would be directly west of that cave entrance.
Okay, and heading over in that direction, do we get a better look of sort of what kind of activity is happening around the cave itself?
At least not coming and going. And what lies in the cave, unknown. But from this vantage point, nothing seems to be going on outside of the cave other than these 2 or 3 people around the cook fire that they appear to be working. There's a couple of people in that front guard tower, and then up on the hill off the top you can see a couple of people in that guard tower. But as far as outside of the cave, that is the only sign of life. No coming or going. That's it.
Okay, well, I've got the quarterstaff kind of rested on one of my shoulders. I kind of nod to Morn, who I think has the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
we walk over to some of the people around the cooking area, and I'm going to ask one of them, where do you want this stuff?
As you kind of come up, and they're kind of picking things up out of crates, and looks like they're doing a few things. They look at you kind of slant-eyed and off to the side as they. I didn't think we had any more shipments coming in today. You folks been out for a while?
Yeah, we hadn't heard. We've been out for a few days, but we found 3 goats, so we figured we'd bring them back as soon as we could. Out of character, somebody else should be doing the talking.
Yeah, we ran into an owl bear, and we had to try to avoid it, and we had to run around.
Owl bears? This far south? Roll deception. I don't know what kind of tale you're trying to spin here. My guess is you got out, got lazy, and expect to get paid anyway. Ain't no owl bears in these parts.
Could have been a mistake.
Look, these are really heavy. Do you want them or do you don't want them?
Well, obviously, folks gotta eat. We don't get paid unless the folks get eat. Let's see. Just pile them over here on this outstretched canvas we got off to the side.
All right.
How long did you guys say you were at again?
Couple days.
Couple of days. You go ahead and roll deception. Couldn't have been a couple of days. They've been gone and left since then. Most loaded up them wagons and all, headed out west,
Look,
east, and all over the place. They'd cut back on the orders. Something ain't right about all this. I think I need to go in and talk to Fru Lamb. She'll know. she has all the work orders.
Look, it may have been a little bit longer than that. We took some whiskey out, and we might have lost a day or two. You know how it is.
Alright, feign, deception, or sorry, not deception, let's do intimidation for that. And then for Rowan, let's go ahead and do... Let's do one more. Let's go ahead and do one more deception.
No!
This is impressive.
That's awesome.
This is exactly what happened last time.
But maybe we're getting it out of the way early.
Maybe we'll get out of the way early.
At least it's not a full camp this time.
You folks been boozing, huh? Uh-huh. That much I might believe. But all this other hogwash ain't nothing but hog-wash. That's it. Yeah, I'm not going to be responsible for any kind of weird nonsense going on. I'm going to take care of this. So he's just going to turn.
Oh, hold
he's
on a
gonna
sec.
start
You said-
marching with purpose towards the cave.
I turn into a bear and I just tackle him.
Sweet. Oh, now it's going down.
I'm going for the throat so he can't yell.
All right, let's see. Let's see how all
I'm
this
just picturing
transpires.
all that stuff going down at the same time. That's the greatest thing ever. Yeah, it might have been more than 2 days. No, we got into the alcohol. Hey, do you have any alcohol? Roar!
All 5 of you roll initiative.
Holy fuck, that's the highest initiative roll I've ever had. Thank you, +3.
All right, if y'all would go ahead and move your icons to the map, right around that circled area. Is that B for bear?
Yep.
Okay, hold up a second.
Baron?
No,
for
brown
bear.
bear.
Oh yeah, he showed up. But it's really an X. It's the funny part.
Okay, so all right, so let's go ahead and do it. Commoner 10 will get to go first. It happens to be the one you're talking to. So for the moment, okay, set his bit. He is clearly surprised, as is I think every single person but Rowan, I believe, on this first round.
Fuck bear!
And so let's figure out how we're going to do this from our mechanical standpoint here.
Oh, right.
And I'm surprised TX and like, hey, told you. He said owl bear. It's still a bear.
12 and
You're half right.
We were drinking. Could have exaggerated.
Are you a brown bear or black bear?
I'm a brown bear.
I mean, once you go black, you never go back, right? Bad joke?
Yeah, pretty much.
Black bear's not as good as brown bear. So,
All right, I'm going to go ahead and... Okay, let me... delete this token.
Yay! Already killed it.
Whoa!
oh, I'm big.
You're a brown bear. You are large.
That is a fat bear.
Big bear chase me.
It is your turn.
I don't have to take my goats.
So now I think the way that this could actually work is if you click on yourself, like you're the brown bear icon.
My Rowan self?
No, you're actually on the map. And I think
Okay.
this works for everybody for the future from what I was reading. And then if you control click the commoner, that will target it. And then, so you click on yourself first, you control click on the commoner 10, and then on the stat sheet, open up the stat sheet, and then click the thing for the roll on it, and it should have targeted the commoner and I think that's how you can do the attack. Let's see if that works out.
I got an arrow. I mean, it's 15 feet away.
Control click.
Yeah. Now it highlights it for me.
Uh-huh.
No, not the commoner. I'm highlighted with an arrow that says 15 feet.
Yeah, because that's how far
Yeah,
away
tell
you
her
are.
it's not working.
I'm not sure that's doing anything. I can't seem to
Oh, it
click
does.
on...
It does. Look on the combat tracker. It says, my character says Morn targets commoner. See that?
Is it because it doesn't consider
Under
it
effects.
me?
No? I mean, if... Maybe.
Oh, my brown bear's hostile.
Ah, that might be why. There we go.
Oh, okay. Now the
That's how
target
you-
shows up.
Okay,
Yep.
here we go.
So will that make our attacks automatically roll against that target?
I think that's the way that works.
Nice. That way we don't have to worry about me hitting myself.
Okay, so now...
True.
So under the brown bear for me, under the combat tracker, it says brown bear wild shape targets commoner 10. So now under your ability, like under your, like open up the stat block for the NPC.
On the actions?
I don't know if you can do it from your actions. It might work that way. If not, okay, so see if I can try.
The target thing doesn't work.
Yeah, that did not work. Oh, it says targeted.
I can drag it on him, though.
Okay, well if you can drag it on him, then that doesn't matter. Then it doesn't matter beyond that. Then. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with your first roll to see if that first roll actually. Oh yeah, AC.
No such thing as flat-footed in this one.
No, not flat-footed, but 13 does hit.
Oh, okay. That was my bite. Nom nom nom.
So as part of your turn, you leap forward and just tackle and tear out the throat of the commoner. You still have 5 feet of movement, or you've only used 5 feet of movement.
So does that mean I could move to the other one? And could I still do my claw attack because the first one actually hit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't actually matter if the first one hits or not. It's just a straight up multi-attack for this.
Oh, okay. So I can only move.
No. You can with the 5th edition, you can interrupt everything. So you can attack since you essentially can attack once with the claws and once with the bite, and it doesn't matter if either one of them hits. And in 5th edition, you can move, attack, as long as you use all those things. You don't have to use all your movement. You don't have to use all your attack, but you can move and attack and break it up if you'd like. That's totally possible. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm going to move so they're both in my threatened range. And then use my claws on the next one?
Mm-hmm. And they hit. And a very frightful sight. He just turns and starts walking away with great purpose, as though he's going to walk towards the cave. And then almost like you kind of do a little hop in your human form, but as a part of that hop, you transform into bear kind of mid-air, landing on him, tearing out his throat, and then you just see like the bear like all 4 legs bound over to the other commoner and just swipe at it, raking it across right across the front as its just mouth is open in awe. And it falls with a gasp, and the other one just lets out a little and then is kind of stunned in pure shock of what has transpired before it.
And that's my turn.
Since this is a surprise round, you were the only one not surprised, so flip it back to the top of the turn. Commoner 9 is going to basically just kind of fall down on it, like he's trying to sit down, just falling down with his arms kind of behind him, supporting him. He's kind of sitting on his butt, just panting, and then he's going to try to crawl backwards away from you in obvious trauma.
If he moves out, I'm taking a swipe at him unless he's disengaged.
No. Yeah, you definitely get use a reaction for the attack of opportunity. Technically, he's on the ground, so...
So I get advantage
You get advantage.
for prone?
Yeah. With a melee attack, yeah.
At least this part of our journey is going well.
Okay, so being a bear is fun.
I didn't have time to switch to battle music. It was
Over?
Jeez. I'm gonna stroll up and give her my bunny.
You're here.
I lick some of the blood off of my snout.
I mean, that'd be weird, it's true.
Okay.
Don't kill me.
So we're what? 40 feet from the cave entrance, according to this.
140.
Oh, is that 140?
Yeah, depending on your zoom level, someone's fat head might be blocking it.
Oh yeah, there's the 140. So I guess we could start heading towards that cave.
Is that like like a horse? How they kind of sigh, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was not hungry anymore. She just ate someone's throat.
And roll perception checks across the board.
Even with these plus 5s, you can't roll anything higher than a fucking 10.
You guys, the adrenaline's pumping, especially for those that this is their first real adventure, and seeing the devastation that just took place of 3 people who could be innocent or not, or moral quandaries aside, are gone. And locked in the moment, you know that at least your current main quest, if you will, lies within the cave. What do you do?
I'm going to the cave now.
Everyone's gonna kind of hustle into the cave.
I'd like to check out what's in the tent. Maybe while everybody else goes, trying to maybe stealth my way around the tent and take in what helps us there.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll stealth and then an investigation.
I'm gonna wait for Fane.
You see her kind of slip up towards the tent and then just disappear around the flap as she kind of steps in, very stealthily slipping into the tent. As you can see, this particular tent has several stakes in the ground with ropes tied to them. This looks to be a place not of. This particular tent doesn't appear to be like a living quarters or like with tables or even like some kind of command tent. This appears like it's a makeshift prison where the different stakes and things are tethered throughout, with ropes and such hanging off of them in such a way where you could see that, you know, someone could be tied up very easily to them, bound, and left there.
But there's nobody in the tent?
There's no one in the tent, no.
Then I'll go out and follow the rest to the cave.
One thing you, as you're kind of investigating around, you're looking through the tent, you're looking around it, you do notice that the guard tower to the north is no one is paying any attention to the south. All of them seem to be looking north and to the east, as far as that goes. Like they're looking outward across the back for possible back, you know, anyone coming in from behind or across the plateaus. They have not. It happened so quickly that it doesn't look like anything is going on, like that they're actually heard or saw anything going on in the camp below.
Especially not a bear attack.
Especially that. Same little bit. Alright, you can go ahead and close out that map. I'll have you guys come into the next.
That's a very pretty map. Title.
Sure, the blood stains on the left there from the commoners that are outside.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. Jeez.
Could very well be, yes.
User disconnected from your channel.
Do I need to put my token on here?
Yeah, go ahead and... Whoa, something's getting bigger.
Big bear.
Goodness gracious.
There's a big friggin' sinister smile on her face over here.
Actually, I'm going to delete your token and apply the one from the combat tracker to make sure everything links together right.
Oh, okay.
Not sure, but I'd rather not fiddle with that. Okay, so Morn is going to try to come in stealthily.
Mm-hmm. That's one stealthful freaking bear.
I'm actually gonna hang back a little bit, I think, in case they want to still pretend to be hunters or something.
Oh, we brought you a bear. We even trained it.
Or
I'm gonna kind of go ahead, because I don't really need any special aids to see.
Is it a lit cave?
It is not. It is quite dark in here, at least in this area. Who all? Let's see. I know Fane has dark vision. TX has some kind of.
I have badassery vision.
Yeah. What about anybody else's ability to see when it gets dark? Something.
Dark.
Not as a bear.
I have unlit torches.
I'm going in as far as the light goes. This is probably about it.
And someone who was lighting the torch? Or was somebody lighting a torch?
I'll light the torch. TX will put a torch in his offhand.
I don't have a torch. I don't need a torch.
The torch counts as a club, which is a martial weapon. So whoop whoop, or a monk weapon.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
mean Morn's gonna do it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Morn will light a torch. Trying to be stealthy at the same time.
I can see 120 feet
Holy fuck stands
in the dark.
in the dark. Throw that in there.
Yeah.
I can see my hand. Maybe.
Since my dark vision is 60, does that mean I see 60 feet ahead of me?
Yep.
Without light?
Correct.
You want to go ahead and drag your character along a little bit. As you kind of come in, you get your light source figured out, and for those that can see, roll perception checks.
Can I smell?
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Bjorn rolled higher perception checks most of the time than this guy.
I'm not sure. Does brown bear? I mean, obviously they can smell, but I wonder if that's just built into their perception.
It says the brown bear has advantage on perception checks that rely on smell.
Ah, yeah, you can. Go ahead and roll. And go ahead and hit your advantage before you do your perception. And we'll do stuff like that off of your character sheet because I just. Oh,
What?
well, there's that.
Yeah.
Now go ahead and progress about 30 feet forward, like a full round of movement. Your full 6 squares or so. Is TX going to be up out in front up there?
I think I moved as far as I can.
I'll let you reposition a little bit if you want to get maybe another 2 squares if you'd like.
Oh, I can move another 10 feet except for if there's people in the way. There we go.
Witnessing the devastation from the outside, a couple of the guards are waiting on the inside to protect the interior cave. Retreated further back along the way to lie in wait for those to come forward. As a part of such, they're lying in wait. They managed to surprise everybody except Lorne, who will get to act on the first round.
Music's a little loud, but
I have the alert feed.
Oh, you have the alert feed? You cannot
Yes.
be surprised?
I cannot be surprised while I'm conscious.
Okay, then you are also not surprised. Is that better on the volume there? Battle music's so much louder, have to adjust it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's quite a bit better.
Almost brandished my long sword in real life.
So do we roll initiative if we're not surprised? Or how does that work?
Everyone roll initiative. Yeah, everyone roll initiative, and then if you're surprised, you just don't get to act on the first turn.
Mhm.
Double-digit roll, sweet.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I'll
I need-
override
yeah.
it. I'll override it. What is it?
Thank you.
20?
yes.
Leaping out of the shadows with a very fanatical yell, comes screaming at you. One of the cultists. I can guess. There we go. I broke it. Somehow it didn't have a name. Yeah. What is your AC? What is Laurel's AC?
18.
Really hoping there's a way that I could actually interact with it, because the combat tracker is going to be so long. I don't want to have to scroll around while holding on to things, since all my abilities come from the combat tracker. I just can't make this targeting
We
work.
can. Oh, you can't click and drag to any. You can click and drag to the icon on the map, can't you?
That's what I thought, but it's not working. Did you take heavy armor mastery after all?
No.
Okay. I can drag them to your portraits though at the top, so that works. TX was surprised in the first round. Brown Bear was not. Jeez.
How far does our light go?
30-30 for the standard torch.
30 with like 10 of dim, right?
It's
That's the
it's 30 bright light, 30 dim light. Yeah, so with a leaping attack, you manage to land on top of the current dragon claw as you snap at it, and then almost just kind of keep running as you swipe across it, tearing it open across the middle. It lets out a small shriek. It's just as its shriek is filled with blood, and it turns into more of a gargle as it then falls to the ground dead as you just keep running by.
I can't seem to advance my turn.
Oh, you can't? Okay. Uh, the Dragon Claw is gonna charge with devastating speed and in a crisscross pattern go with his scimitar, striking on either side of your flanks, cutting you open pretty deeply on either side. You begin to bleed profusely out of each of these individual gashes. So Fane was surprised in the first round. Morn's turn.
Nice.
Creeping up almost from the side. You ups from the side around the bear, who seems to take the full focus of its attention. You creep around from the side and swipe at it, and then turn and uppercut. landing solid
Yeah.
blows, and you can see that it is holding onto its side, gasping deeply for breath, but it is still standing and mad. You can see it gritting through its teeth. See the dragon girl step up, the one hiding behind a column here. You can see it peek out around, looking, seeing the bear, seeing the monk, seeing the little guy hiding behind the pillar. Has to decide what it thinks its biggest threats are. It rushes over to the aid of its fellow Dragonclaw, attacking the monk. Okay, I guess because I didn't drag your icons from the combat tracker, that's why it's not working to drag it over to yours.
It could be. Oh yeah, mess. Whoop whoop.
Comes in and slashes
Right, motherfucker.
wildly. In lightning speed, it attacks with a crisscross pattern, but the monk, with his discipline, manages to avoid one and then stiff arm the other strike, rendering it ineffective. Top of the round, surprise is over. Everyone can act this round.
Dude, my dice have been sucking.
It still got the kill though. Screws Morn over a little bit, but good job.
I just kind of step on the dead one.
We are going to go ahead. I was going to say, no, you're fine. You keep doing your thing. We will
Oh.
be using the full the DMG option for the flanking, like the old flanking. If you're directly opposite of an ally, you do gain advantage on an attack. Well.
How long does bear form last?
1 hour.
OP much?
Jeez.
Man, Bob, does it remind you of the owlbear we fought that one time?
No. Should I chew on him a little bit?
That's up to you, crazy druid chick.
I'm not getting in your way if you want to do that.
I mean, I'm not sticking my hand in there to save any body parts. I like my fingers.
And that puts us at exactly 4 hours in. So I think with the end of that little combat encounter, we got our feet wet, literally, with blood for some people.
Our faces.
I think that's a good first session, first story session for us all there.
Told you I'd make it.
And so we'll pick up here whenever the next available time slot is. We can talk about that after I end the stream. Make sure time frames are good.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I even made it.
I'm glad you could make it, Wolfen.
Just to watch a bear eat someone's face off.
Thanks for making it. Sure, it definitely made the story a little easier to tie together. That you made it exactly at the time you did. That was kind of a rather interesting coincidence. And for any of those watching on YouTube later, thank you for watching. I think